regular soldiers won't cut it. I need something more powerful. I said, it's over.
Hey, Alex, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
How you doing? Terrell Royce here with Big Gold Belt Media. It's been a pleasure getting to talk to you today. So many questions buzzing through my head. So many things that I want to say within this time period. But one of them I want to say is, man, I just want to take a moment to talk about the range that you have here, man. Like,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, just going through, like, obviously seeing so much of your work, and so many voice actors that I come across, but being able to pick up just from something very light to something serious like this, and I honestly, I swear I could not tell it was you.
I'm glad.
It,
That means I'm doing my
it
job then.
really took me a minute, but yeah, I mean, the work you have done with this, I mean, like, it's crazy. Like, a lot of people, they jump into a role, you usually get a little bit of the same voice pair, but it's really hard for me to pick up where you've done with Sung here.
That's
um
awesome, man.
with solo leveling, obviously you're no novice to the movies here. Like, we're getting this reawakening movie.
Hmm.
What was your first the first thoughts going through your head, like, as this was going to be made into a little bit of a mini movie with a little bit of the new season added to it?
I mean, I when I was working on season one, I had a brief moment where we were talking about mixing, how we wanted to mix the Arise scene and how that was going to be audio wise, and they gave me the creative freedom to tweak some of that and add like some of the effects and stuff. And so the mixer Gino took me into his mixing room, and his room is set up like a movie theater. So there's like surround sound speakers, and he played for me the mix, and the ground like shook and everything rumbled, and I was just like, "Oh my God, this is the same show that I've been watching and recording." And he's like, "Yeah, this is how it sounds in like a surround sound mix." And I was just amazed by it. So I was super excited at the prospect that they were going to put this thing in theaters, because I'm like, that is amazing, because then everybody can experience it for the brief moment that I experienced
Right.
it then. And it's super cool because it'll be like a recap of the best moments of the first season. So I haven't seen it yet, but I'm personally very excited to re-experience those moments on a big screen in theaters. So I was very, very stoked.
I'm usually torn between my English dub and my Japanese, but this is one of those shows where I can honestly say both of these versions are 100% worth watching.
Thank
Especially,
you.
especially, I mean, the characters. I'm not sure who the voice director was for this, but the
Caitlin Glass, yeah.
Caitlin, yeah, man, just everybody is matched up perfectly to what I had in my head for
Absolutely. We have an like all-star cast here, and I'm super, super honored to be a part of all of them, among them. But yeah, no, she did a great job reeling everybody together and making this whole thing work.
Speaking of, like I said, working with everybody, how was it? Was this recording something that you were able to do remotely, or you actually got into the studio with everybody to do this?
With anime, we all have to record individually, but
Okay.
the thing about this show is that it's produced in Texas. So recordings are in Dallas, and everybody lives in Dallas, but I'm in LA.
Yeah.
But out of, for fun, I would try to book time off so I can fly down there and record and just hang out with everybody else. And so I did for some of the very important, crucial episodes. I did fly down to Dallas to do that. Um, and even though we don't get to see each other in the booth, we do interact a lot outside. And Chris Sabat, who is an amazing guy, and he
Oh
plays one
yeah.
of the key characters in the show. I've always been a huge fan of him, and he's been a great figure for me to look up to. It blew my mind when he texted me and he was like, "Hey man, I'm watching this show and you're just killing it." And I'm like, "Dude, thank you. That means so much." And he was so kind that he hosted the a watch party at his place. It was a rap party. So everybody from the show was invited, people from production, the whole cast. We were all at his cool house, and he put the show up on a big screen, and then Caitlin put together all of the food orders, which is food we had from the show. And it was just an amazing time to have such a supportive community built around the show. even though the show is called Solo Leveling and it
Yeah.
solely focuses on him, it's insane how much other people cared about it. So I was definitely very blown away by that.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Chris, man. I don't think I've not heard not one good story about
Yeah, no,
Chris.
he's awesome, man. He's awesome, and I'm so happy to have him on this project as well. So he's gonna have a lot more time to shine in this next season. So that'll
Oh,
be very,
I
very
see.
cool.
Yeah. Can't get into spoilers here, man. There's so
Yeah,
much I
yeah,
want to talk about. But like you said, when you hit that Arise line in the show, man, it definitely gave me chills. Like
Oh, I'm glad.
it was just perfect delivery, just straight down the board there. Um, now that we're, pretty much everything is crossed, officially all under the banner of Crunchyroll now, working, since work with Dragon Ball and stuff like that. Have you felt like this has been just easier time, like production wise, like you're getting things a lot done quicker. There's a lot more organization to this now, in terms of like getting this out and everything that you've worked on so far.
I mean, it's always hard because you have to gauge it by production. Every
Right.
production is going to have its ups and downs. But one thing about Crunchyroll that has been very consistent is that they have a very set schedule for their releases, and I'm happy to uh, get to work so closely with everybody. Uh, because sometimes actors get left out of the equation and we don't really get accounted into like when things are going to be and stuff like that. But and the other thing is that they care to promote this show and they care to really expand the opportunities beyond just the anime and I think the fans have also I've seen that the fans have really appreciated their efforts
Yeah.
to reach out or expand how their social media is and in promoting these shows and sharing all these great amazing clips for everybody to see for free, so it's
Right.
been really really awesome to see the expansion of media.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody that's grown up with anime and seen the evolution of, VHS tapes, those
Hmm.
being like $50 for 3 episodes to, jump into streaming now, I still feel like, is the younger generation doesn't know how good they have it.
No, they sure don't, they sure
uh,
don't.
but like you said, I mean, everything has just become so much easier to get now. And I'm so trying not to talk about Persona 3. I see this bag right there. But with as far as Solo 11, like that first season, I mean, this is a show that has come so quickly. It took and taken over by storm. I mean, I didn't even know about it until Crunchyroll started promoting it, and when I watched it, I fell in love. I didn't. I mean, like I said, we have so many of these shows where the isekai or
Hmm.
you jump into another world or kind of like the video game crossover show, but this one, being a Korean manga, just absolutely just comes out the gate and hits the mark right there. What was some of your favorite moments or some of your favorite times recording season one that you can remember?
My favorite times recording was definitely anytime he had a big moment that changed his character. I really enjoyed recording the scene in episode 2 where he dies
Oh, it's
for the
tough to
first
watch.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was super interesting and challenging to record that, but also really rewarding because that was the first time me and Caitlin, the director, because we never worked with each other prior to this project. That was the first time we bonded as performer and director, and we kind of set the tone for how the rest of the show was going to be, and our work process there, and our trust in each other really started developing from that moment. And it was really cool to see how that came out and how everybody was, satisfied with it. And from there, we just became best friends working on the show. And
Right.
every new moment for Jinu was a fun moment to tackle because every new moment was very, very challenging. And, for somebody like me who's an actor, I really love taking on new challenges.
Right.
There's always, of course, there's always a risk that I'm not going to be able to do it in time, but I think that's what makes it fun is the risk and reward of whether or not I'll be able to do it. So it keeps life interesting for me, is what I
Absolutely.
say.
You had mentioned earlier you hadn't had a chance to watch this movie or see any of season two. Are you as you're recording this, so you have like no insight whatsoever as what's coming next outside of you reading those lines, or you
I
going like a little
actually,
bit?
I for this show, as with any pre-existing franchises that I'm a part of, I like to do my research on it because I think I owe it to the fans
Oh
to
yeah.
understand what makes the show or the character memorable and good. And in order to do that, I need to be a fan myself. So I do know what's coming because I have read the manhwa and
Okay.
I have gone out of my way to research this show to an extensive length. So in this particular case, yeah, I do have a lot of context, and that's,
Okay.
you know, every time we record, we pull a lot of context from other mediums, the webtoon, the light novels, the Japanese script. So it's a very, very involved process.
How is personal like fan reception? I mean, I guess like you interacting with fans that have been watching your work and stuff like that. How has that been for you, or taking this in with this particular role compared to others that you've worked on in the past?
Oh, it's been super fun. It's always fun interacting with fans, you know, and I didn't really start interacting with fans until I made a lighthearted joke about the Arise scene. And, you know, again, I'm familiar with the pressure and, you know, anytime you work on any sort of big project, there's bound to be some unsatisfied people or a lot of pressure from outside to do a good job. But it doesn't really shake me anymore because the person who I'm most interested in impressing is myself because I'm also a big fan of the show and I want to do something that I, as a fan, would be proud of. Um, so for me, fan interactions is very important because it helps me gauge what it is the community is looking for. Because I know what I want, but what is it that the community wants? And sometimes it's just fun to have fun with them to let them know that you appreciate them showing up to the show, you appreciate them watching what you're doing, you appreciate their investment in the series because I really do. And I feel that we literally wouldn't be here without the fan support. So it's in our best interest to understand our fans as much as we can as well. So it's been a
I mean,
fun time talking to everybody.
yeah, I mean, it's just also nice to see, like I said earlier, like how far we've come and how much more serious and they've taken with the voice acting with this stuff to before not saying Crunchyroll or anything, but like before because it was just so much they would rush through it and you wouldn't always get the performances that you would want all the time because of
I
how
mean,
fast you
yeah,
had to do
yeah.
it. Yeah,
We still have a time limit. We still have limited time to work off of, and it really is based on luck. 'Cause sometimes you get a really good director, sometimes you don't. But in this case, I was extremely grateful to get the best director for the job, Caitlin, which is somebody who cares so deeply about this series and somebody who cares about me as a performer. And I care about her as well. And we had an amazing exchange of ideas, an amazing exchange of trust and we would work on this show even when we weren't in the booth. So we had a lot of time to mull it over. We would even text each other when we weren't in the office, just talking about what to do with certain lines or certain scenes of the show. So it was a very intensive process in and outside of the booth. I feel like we both dedicated so many hours of our lives to making this thing as best as we can, as best as we can make it. So it's, despite the time schedule being against us, we still did the best that we could.
and Alex, it's definitely something I wanted to ask you that was on my list. Try to do my research and I can. Did you have any like formal training prior to this, like you
I
like
did
acting
not.
or anything like that?
No, no. I never had the money to afford something like that. But before I did acting, I did art, I did uh powerlifting, and all of these skills have something in common, which is that you can learn any of them by yourself,
Right.
and you learn via many different things. You learn via imitation, you learn via info absorption, all of that stuff. And for me, acting was just kind of the same, is that I don't feel personally, I didn't feel like I needed or had even the money to afford those classes in the first place to learn from them because there's already so many great resources out there. There's so many amazing movies with amazing performances that I can learn from, that I can
Right.
imitate, that I can copy, that I can pick apart. So for me, it's, formal training or not, I think if somebody has it in them to absorb all of that information and apply it, then you know, that's the equivalent of getting training.
You literally had a solo leveling experience. It's always so cool, man. Like I said, I mean, just like I said, listening to your performance and a lot of the work that you've done over the last couple years, it just seems like you've been hitting one box after another, just out the park. I mean, like I said, I don't think I've come across anything yet. I was just like, yeah, it was kind of okay. You know what I mean? Like everything's been pretty good that I've come across. Um, as far as the movie for Soul Leveling Reawakening, is there anything that you want the fans to know? Anything you want to say to the fans to so to get them prepared and geared for this movie?
I think that if you're a fan of the show, you're really, really gonna love how they're gonna adapt his usage of his powers. I say this a lot, which is I don't feel like necromancy is a magic that's used a lot in other medias because it's always painted as the evil, forbidden magic.
It's
And in a way, it is. And that will be really interesting to see how the protagonist of our story utilizes it and how he lets it affect him and his morals as a person. And that's the interesting morality of it, but the cool side of it is just to see those shadows in action.
oh
And
yeah.
from the bits that I've seen, it's really, really cool. So I think you should definitely check it out just to see that.
It is 100% worth seeing on the screen. IMAX, however you got to see it, Japanese, English dub.
Mhm.
This movie is definitely worth it. It's not just a recap, but you get some really cool insight into season two, and it looks
Absolutely.
really, really good. Like I said, you did an amazing job, Alex. I really thank you for taking the time to do this interview with me today. It's been an amazing experience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Terrell.
No problem, no problem. I hope we can do this again.
Yeah, like